YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the F-16 70 by FMS. Really cool. Don't mind my Barbie style decals. As you can see, those are gonna lose the pink film, hopefully in a few more hours. Retracts, beautiful. No flaperons because this thing is equipped with the Reflex V2, and we're gonna get set and go right now, so stay tuned. All right, throttle cuts off, here we go, guys. Good controllability on the roll, gear going up. Oh man, that thing looks gorgeous. Wow. This is on 4006S, look at that tight circuit.
That's crazy.
That is so cool. Okay, there's full throttle. We were running about 60 on that turn. We do have a voltage alarm beeping. Getting hard into the throttle. This is a 50C pack. We have learned that the 50C packs, 100C packs, and 30C packs from Spectrum, that's upside down, they take a second to relax in and they get the balancing working. Geez, that thing is flying great. I'm really, really happy with it, guys. Janking it. Getting her flying out of the throttle. Folks, thanks for being part of our little experiment here, Brian Phillips RC, where we review these planes and we show you how good they really are. Let me show you how fun they can be. Yep, that was the camera crew bumping into me. Sorry, guys. Man, I love the way this thing looks. Now I really wish we didn't have the Barbie stickers because you can totally see that pink. Okay, going up and around and then back down for a high-speed pass.
Okay.
Gotta love it, folks. FMS does a really nice job with these planes. Yes, there is auto leveling on this plane. Turning it on now. There you go. So that's auto leveling. I'm gonna give you guys a shot of my sticks. As you can see, it's very limited on its roll authority. Okay, just bringing it around. Just letting it relax into a level attitude. See both sticks down now when I let go. Okay, coming out of it. We're gonna bring it down. Do not run into me, please.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, love the jank. Man, this thing looks good in the air. I love the white missiles. I gotta say, I'm not usually a huge fan of ordnance. And I was somewhat complaining about it in the unbox build radio setup because there's not very many of them. But I gotta say, this thing is just kicking it out. And a lot of times with the ordnance, you get so many different things that you can't even fly. There's too much drag. But boy, this thing is flying amazing. Like night and day better than the 70mm F-18, I gotta say. It's about 30% throttle, hard on the throttle, rudder to make the turn, little contrary aileron, and then we'll just roll right out of it. Gorgeous. Guys, we got 23 seconds left on our timer, which is 3.5 minutes, I believe we did.
Yep.
Bringing it down low, hard pass. Oh, yes. Gotta say, I love the way this thing is flying, guys. I did not know what to expect. That's our timer. Camera crew is gonna stay where she is.
Okay.
Oh man, I so badly don't want to land, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Okay, wind is coming from right to left. Okay, since we don't have any flaps to speak of, I gotta be a little bit careful how I do this. I'm just gonna fly it out of the throttle. You're just gonna glide it in. I got long final. Hold still, please. Oh, I'm gonna just have to give her, I'm just gonna have to get her into a flare a little bit earlier. Keeping the gear down for drag, out of the throttle. Keeping it nice and low this time. Over the cherry, just barely clearing it. And she's down, she's down. Off into the grass, my apologies guys, throttle cuts on and safe. We're at 59 seconds, you're not gonna be able to see it, 59 seconds past our 3.5, so that makes a 4.5 minute fly time. That's pretty good. Let's go check the voltages. Now, just to be clear, I wanna say this, and I don't say this often. Usually, reflex is not competitive on the same par as AS3X and safe, in that, you know, I just feel like it doesn't usually conduct itself near as well. Like, it's good, it gets the job done. I gotta say, on this plane, boy, it is flying great. So, other than the stupid decal colors, what an amazing flight, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. Seem to handle the grass ops well, too, in terms of slowing down. I can do that better on our next flight. We are gonna do 2 flights here at least. And I gotta say, what a great flight. And what I mean by this pink stuff is there's this film that's over them, and you're supposed to wait 24 hours. I got it about 18 hours and it started lifting some of the white, okay? So same over here, and it looks like we did lose that. That sucks. But you know what, stars and bars, I'm probably gonna peel that off. I'll find another sticker somewhere from some other plane, because these are decal sticker decals. These are decal wet decals. And the wet decals are a pain. It took us almost as long to put the decals on as it did to build the plane, and do the radio setup and do the CG and do all the normal testing we do. I gotta say, on 4,000, this thing is just fine. It does great. I wanna point out one of the best details about this plane. Look at the canopy. It's hollow on the bottom, okay? That's a big deal. We have not seen that on F-16s in the past, because look, the battery bulges. If you have a problem with bulging, which I'm guessing you do if you have this plane, then what's gonna happen is your canopy on other offerings is gonna be a little bit stiffer, but it's gonna have a body at the bottom. That does not work. That means it limits your battery. They want a 3200 or a 3300 rather, 35C pack. This here's a 50C pack, doesn't really change anything. This thing's been used and abused. And I gotta say, the smart packs, where they make up for safety issues, they sometimes lack a little bit of persistence on the higher draw EDFs. This one's well within the range of the capabilities of this plane. Let's go check. We're gonna pause and get to the runway. All right, so we got the XPC tester here, XPC battery checker. We're gonna unplug the lead. Comes with an EC3. We use IC3s, of course, on these smart batteries. And so I'm just gonna pop this out. We did the shelf liner trick, and I'm just gonna push that down. Now be careful, this will sit up on its hind legs if you're not careful with the canopy off. Now this battery, on our voltage alarm, it's gonna be too hard to see in the sun. 3.78, 3.88, or 3.80, 3.78, 3.8. So that's good enough. I'm not gonna waste any more time on that. I'm just gonna go straight to the XPC battery checker, because you might be able to see this in the sun. Yep, we're at 30%. So about 4.5 minutes of flight time if you respect your timer, okay? I tend not to respect my timers, so I'm just going to have the camera crew take this from me, and then as soon as she's done, she's gonna take the other one too. But for now, we're gonna put in a Gen 2. Yes, it's been through some paces, let's say. It is definitely not in brand new condition by any means, okay? Now, I gotta say, I was really happy with the way the CG was. I could have flared a little bit and done just fine, but you can see kind of where we marked it out here. So we're basically as far back as we can get and then bumping into the cables, okay? Now that Gen 1 pack has the balance lead, so I chose to do it sideways and it still fit, but it's actually quite a bit shorter this dimension than that, okay? So that's really nice. So if you guys are doing this on a smart battery, because you've got smart batteries from other applications, or you're ordering it for this flight, okay, timer's cleared. We are gonna try to respect the timer. We're gonna get into final at 3.5. Wait for everything to initiate. Timer's clear. You can hear the beeping. Watch the dance, and then that tells you that all the positions have been recorded. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing tucked in. I just wanna show you how well this fits, because even though that bulges up, watch this, that cavity is big there, guys. So I was complaining about that too in the build, okay? And in the build, my complaint was basically, I don't like the fact that these F-16s have the receiver or the receiver required items, like in this case, the reflex, all the way at the back of that canopy or the back of the hatch, because that's where we want to get our batteries so we can get the CG such that we can roll. Well, here's the cool thing. This is a 4,000. They're calling for a 3,200 or 3,300. So we're 700 milliamp hours bigger than what they call for. We're not even all the way back. If you needed to relocate that, you could relocate that thing. So that's really good and promising, okay? But just remember, if you ever relocate a reflex, which I would not necessarily recommend it myself, you have to get it in the same spatial awareness, okay? It's not a programmable setup. You can change how it's programmed to a different plane, but you can't necessarily change the axis by which it pivots and things like this, okay? So just keep that all in mind. Also, the second thing is, with the stabilizer on, it feels great. I can't believe how easy it was to get in and do that low pass on a side. Look at this thing. What is that? Cottonwood?
I don't know.
Or a spider? That is so weird. Gross. I'm glad that didn't end up on EDF. Okay, we're gonna take off the same way and we'll be right back for the second flight. All right, so we're gonna take off. We have a hawk up here. So we're just kind of paying attention to where he's flying, or she. All right, throttle cuts off. Here goes nothing. Gen 2. See if there's any difference. I doubt it. That's 50% throttle now, about 60. Kind of floating between the two. Right overhead. Oh, I love the sound of the 72. It's probably one of the better 70s that we've ever flown. And we've flown quite a few. Loving the cloud cover for our backdrop. Guys, if you've never experienced the F-16 like this, highly recommend this one. Guys, it's not hard to fly. I got a regular AR-620 in there, nothing special. And the only thing I don't like about this plane right now is the decals, okay? That was a pain to put them on, and then that stupid backing or whatever, that foreground stuff, has caused a little bit of grief because we lost one of our stars and bars already. But it's nothing I can't fix with a little effort. Wonder what that hawk thinks of this thing. And we'll try for a high-speed pass. You good? Mm-hmm. So cool. Inside out loop again, kind of the same place I did it before. Sorry guys, I probably should have thought of that. Okay, coming down the runway, we'll try for another high speed. Respecting airspace requirements is always part of the fun of flying. About 40% throttle here, 30%, 20%. Coming over the tree line at the low point there, camera crew. A little bit of rudder to help force the nose down, out of the throttle altogether. Okay, now guys, you like high alpha if I'm reading you correctly. And so what I'm gonna try is I'm gonna try to do some high alpha for you here because I feel like we got enough juice. And if you do high alpha right, then you won't get yourself trapped in a hole somewhere, okay? So I'm gonna try again. We were going into the wind there. That's why I did it at that angle. We'll do it again. Okay, we're gonna get out of the throttle. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so pretty good. Don't want to push the pack too hard. So that's the way you slow this thing down to land it in aggressive landing patterns, okay? But I like to carry a little bit of speed with the jets and then give my EDF and batteries a break when I'm going over the top. Pretty decent roll rate, nothing crazy to write home about, but I gotta say the thing flies good. About 50% pass this time. We're gonna do it clean inside. Okay. Oh, I love the sound. Oh, it's so dang cool. Okay, janking it around. Oh, yes! So sweet. Love the way the sun pounds against that gray and makes those refractions so beautiful. Okay, S curve into the bowl. She's calling for it to land. Dead stick? Just kidding, guys. Okay, we're gonna bring it out. Gear coming out. We're gonna slow it down a little bit. Now, we did take on one of our E-Flight versions of this, and we made some big drag inducers on the landing gear, but I've learned since then that really the best way to slow this plane down is get into alpha. Oh, and I screwed the pooch on that one, gear going up. That's why we respect the timer on jets if we can. Okay, I'm feeling like we're gonna probably be close to dead stick, but we're not quite there. Little burst of throttle here, camera crew. You need to be Johnny on the spot just in case, okay? Whoa. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. That was a gust of downdraft. Okay, trading airspeed for altitude. Okay, camera crew, you're gonna be good. Sorry guys, that was a little bit all at once there. Okay, out of the throttle, we're gliding it down, getting it to home. Just keeping it where we want it. A little bit of down, a little bit of up. Ooh, lots better that time. There it is, guys. And I really needed to flare a lot more so that didn't happen. But I gotta say, okay, that was 1 minute 18 over 3 minutes 30. So that'd be about, 4.5 minute flight time plus a little bit of rolling. That, what I felt like was probably happening is we got a little bit of gust and it just turbulates down the hill. And so as I was low on airspeed, that means that you're gonna get smacked by gravity. You're gonna get smacked by Mother Nature because your ground effect is gonna get pushed down by the wind going down the hill. And that's exactly what happened to me on that second landing attempt. My first landing attempt, everything looked pretty good. And I probably could have put down, but I was so far down. I'm like, let's see if we can get it to flare right there. But then of course, unexpectedly we get, and again, it's not a big wind. It's just kind of like a light 4 to 5 mile an hour wind, maybe a 7 or 8 mile an hour gust there that would have kind of smacked me down. That being said, we had enough power to recover. And that's the key. If you have enough power, you can get out of harm's way. And that's the beauty of flying these EDF jets. Now, if you didn't respect the timer, if you were in dead stick mode, that would have been a crash, okay? Yeah. Now, this wasn't a crash. That was just rolling off into the grass and it just kind of tipped. Also, I want to point that out. We didn't have any problems with this, which we've had in the past. And I got to say, very impressive, okay? I don't know, what the heck is that? Oh, it's a cat.
It's just our cat.
I thought it was like some sort of a weird animal.
Well, it is, but it's just our weird animal.
So let's see if we damaged anything. What you see out there is a chunk of cardboard, by the way. I know some of you guys are thinking you lost something out there. No. Oh, by the way, I wanted to just point out the fact that this tip was the first thing that I anticipated I would lose. And we have already lost it, meaning, I don't know if we just lost it there. I didn't pay attention. Did we have it on the first flight? There was a little bit of dirt on that. So it could be somewhere in this grass.
We'll have to look.
We'll probably look off camera, but truth is, guys, I don't care because it's going to get lost anyway. And that's a very easy one to replicate with a toothpick. We used a toothpick last time. So gear looked good. No problems there. We'll show you the cycle. What a great plane, guys. If you haven't experienced the 70 millimeter F-16 by FMS, you need to experience this one. And I'm just going to say the one thing about it is don't rush your decals if you anticipate having them. They look really nice. They're not especially difficult to put on. It's just a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I don't like that we have to peel this protective covering off, but that's how they hold all this stuff together. That being said, I did cheat. I was about 16 hours and I started to peel, and that's why we lost the stars and bars here. But then this pink stuff is supposed to come off, and that's what happened to me, okay? I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen to you, but that's what happened to me. And so for that reason, I apologize if you guys were disappointed by my Barbie doll stars and bars. You'll get over it, I promise. Awesome plane, really good ordnance. Yes, you do have to put decals on the ordnance. That did annoy me. Otherwise, I'm just so happy with the way it flew that I'm really not that annoyed about any of that stuff now.
Yeah.
Because the thing looks amazing in the air. It flies amazing. It lands relatively easy, and it's got a little bit of give, especially on the nose gear. We did have to adjust the tracking on our mains and the nose gear. Watch the Unbox Build radio setup. You'll see our thoughts on that. It's not really a big deal, but it's just something you'll want to check for. There are 2 grub screws on both of the mains at the base of the bogie, okay? So if they are not tracking right, like this plane originally was tracking like sideways. It was weird. We haven't ever seen that. And so it was an easy fix. It probably took us, what, like 7 or 8 minutes?
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
It was pretty easy, but it did take time. Also, I feel like the fitment on the nose cone is probably the worst we've seen on any of our F-16s, okay? That could be fixed. but it's just kind of annoying because I almost feel like the magnet is backward.
Not biting.
Because yeah, it doesn't, like that does not feel like it's pulling tight. Again, I don't know if it's pushing it out or if it's pulling tight, but if it's pushing it out, that just means I need to take this magnet off and switch it around. Otherwise, love this plane. In terms of bang for the buck, it's gonna be high on the list of planes to consider. Now, is this gonna be your first EDF jet? I would not recommend it, but there are a lot of people that really think this is a great first EDF. That's because they have forgotten how hard it is to fly when you're new. Okay, just because a plane looks good in my hands or somebody that's a really skilled, I'm not really skilled, I'm just like an average guy, that doesn't mean it's a good beginner plane, okay? There's easier planes that are gonna get you in the air with a higher level of success. Does that mean this couldn't be your third or fourth EDF? Absolutely not. You could totally do that. It's a great example of just how well these things fly and how far they've come. So guys, check it out in the links to the video description. Buy one to help facilitate earning us some income for our efforts. When you follow the links, we make small commissions from the manufacturers, hobby shops, distributors, whoever it happens to be that we're working with, and that helps them to validate that we're reaching you, a potential buyer, when they're considering whether or not to work with us on aircraft just like this, okay? But that being said, we answer to you and only to you. We just need to have that ecosystem running. Otherwise, we'll run out of airplanes to review, okay? So hopefully that makes sense, and we appreciate you guys supporting us in other ways. We have Patreon. Just remember, if you do PayPal, we're friends and family. Then we have YouTube Super Thanks and YouTube members. Patreon, we don't list it as an option or as like an actual value because otherwise we'd have to charge a VAT tax for anybody overseas. But it does kind of more or less give you access to us for comments a little easier. Not that we're gonna ignore your comments down below, leave them. As usual, we'll do our best to get to them. It's just almost impossible for us to keep up. We used to keep up, but we just have gotten to the point where it's impossible. So we really appreciate you guys. We read most of them. We can't always reply to them. And so please forgive us. We tried our best. We gave it an honest, I mean, it was like 3 or 4 days a week I was spending doing that.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoy communion with you guys, there's only so many days I can give up. So I do have a full-time day job, 50, 60 hours a week doing that, 40 to 50, 50 to 60 hours a week doing this. There's only so many hours in a day. All right, guys, love this plane, really good. I think it needs to be in your hangar unless you're a brand new pilot, and then this doesn't need to be in your hangar yet. And if you want to support us, like I said, buy from the links in the video description below. AR620 worked fine. Don't worry about flaperons. You really, and I hate to admit this, but you really don't need them on this plane. It's just a handy thing to have. And to be honest, I wish that the Reflex supported such activities in an easy way. But until we get that, we're gonna have to work around it with AR631 would be the minimum. And if you really wanna go nuts and have televons, because you can separate those two elevators fairly easy. You can separate the two ailerons and you can do flaperons, and you can set up a wing type where you have that all on an 8260T, which is gonna give you the full package, AS3X, safe, auto leveling, all the stuff you want, as well as the more complex wing type. Don't forget, that also allows you to separate your nose gear, but on this plane, we didn't have problems like we've had on previous planes. So that's a very big factor, and I just wanna remind you of that. These things used to tip really easy. You'd be always constantly doing this. Now, that could be a skill thing with me. I don't think so. I think this one's just better refined, okay? So if you do the 8260, remember you need to set up twin tails and televons, okay?
8020T.
8020T. Did I say that wrong? I'm sorry. 8020T.
Okay. Just in case they're...
So that being said, aileron 1, aileron 2, televon 1, televon 2, rudder 1, rudder 2, retracts. What's the next thing?
Throttle.
Throttle. And then you would have AS3X on, off, safe, on, off, and then master gain.
Yeah.
That's 10 active channels with only 8 pluggable, just so you know, and you would get the full telemetry suite. Considerably more expensive though, and you're wasting the Reflex. This thing doesn't need any of that stuff. I'm just telling you right now, so you know, okay? Awesome plane. If you want to support us, buy one right now from the links in the video description below. If you guys got questions, leave them in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And don't forget to click the bell for notifications so you get notified of the 2, 3, 4, 5 videos that we post every week to try to keep you guys saturated in the RC hobby. If you're just getting back to the hobby, you're in the right place. We'll help get you up to speed. And if you're just returning, did I say that? Just returning from a hiatus, we're here for you too. We know how annoying it can be to go to a hobby shop and not get support. Not all of them are that way, but some of them are. And we're gonna help you, especially in those situations. Or if you have a club that's like, hey, we don't like safe, we don't like this, we don't like that, we want you to do it our way, the old school way. Fine, whatever. If you're into that, go there. If you're not, we'll help you, okay? You're in the right place. Yep. All right, guys, that's all we got for you. Amazing plane. Don't worry, the Barbie doll stickers are not gonna be like that on yours because you'll be patient and peel off the pink stuff 24 hours after you put your decals on and it'll look perfect. Stay tuned. So much more to come from Brian Phillips RC. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the 70mm F-16 from FMS. A little bit weathered by yours truly, and you'll see more of it right now. Obviously, we still have the Barbie stickers. This is what they look like when I tried to peel off the Barbie stuff, but I didn't quite wait 24 hours. I waited like 19.5 hours, so I guess we're gonna see. We'll pause and reset. All right, guys, 3.5 minutes of pure delight. 4006S 50C Gen 1 pack. Gear up. That's pretty good ups for a 70. Now we're gonna get her flying out of the throttle. Absolutely gorgeous. Dead stick. Oh yeah! Guys, if you haven't experienced the 70 from FMS, you might want to consider it seriously because I'm gonna tell you something. We've seen a lot of 70s, and other than the Barbie stickers, this thing is really good. Oh yeah! Janking it. Going down the runway, sort of. So guys, if you enjoy watching the F-16 fly, we figured a nice sunset flight would do the trick and meet your fancy. Perfect weather, really dead calm, beautiful evening, beautiful sunset. 30-40% throttle there, in ground effect, right over the UPS stick and through the hole. Up and around, show you the ups. With some effort, you can really get this thing fast. Oh yeah. So, if you guys haven't ever flown one, you should get one. Check it out. Links in the video description below. And if you're into the Barbie stickers, you can always just leave that crap on there into perpetuity. My guess is most people will be too, even if you don't like it. Upside down performance is fine, about quarter stick to keep it there. But as you know, I'm not a huge proponent of that, although this would be the plane for it. Scare the crap out of this cat. That was awesome. Get out of the way, Callie. That's Callie. She's our aggressor. Should I scare her again? Just because I really don't want her on the runway when we're trying to land. Watch this, she'll jump at it. She thinks she's in charge of it. It's hilarious. I love the noise, guys. That sounds so good. 56 seconds left on the timer. Oh yeah! Squeezing every square inch out of this yard, guys. So folks, one thing we like about the 70s that we don't necessarily like about the other sizes is that you can jank them around like rag dolls. And I'm gonna tell you this doesn't even have full functioning stabilizers. But you're gonna notice, even without all the fancy bells and whistles, like flaperons and reverse thrust and all that crap, this plane is very much flyable. It does everything you want and more. That's our time down. So dang gorgeous. All right, we're gonna try a landing here. I wanna stick a good landing for these people at home. Gear coming out, we're gonna slow the plane down a lot and give us a long, tedious approach. A little bit of slow throttle there, out of the throttle. A little bit of slip, a little bit of slip. using the throttle to mitigate my rate of descent, and then full flare. And there it is, guys. But she's gonna overshoot, just watch. There it goes. That's why thrust reverse is so nice on these things, and yet it's totally not necessary. It just would be preferred. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's 32 seconds. So about 4 minutes. If you respect the timer on 5,000, or excuse me, on 4,000 6S, manned aircraft, where is it?
Nope.
Oh, it's just truck. If you respect your timer, you're gonna have a good experience. If you disrespect your timer, you're probably gonna end up crashing. I've already had a couple of topples, but the topples have always been transitioning from the driveway onto the grass, okay? So, and one of them was along the length of it. So really easy to control. Ground handling is better than we've seen on the 70s. And that's one of the reasons why I really like this plane. It's absolutely gorgeous. I spent probably 1.5 times as long putting decals on as I did building the plane and doing the radio setup, CG test, all that stuff.
Build was super easy.
The build was awesome. Here's a tip, just a tip. Don't even do the white decals. You're wasting your time. Just do the white. Do anything that stickers on the missiles. And by the way, one of the first and few times that you're gonna see me fly with ordnance by choice, and I'll tell you why. White missiles on the belly are so easy to see. White missiles on the back are impossible to see. And it's very obvious, which is super cool because you got that dark top and then you got the light belly with the bright pop of white. Makes a big difference in color. Awesome plane, great example of exactly how you can support Brian Phillips RC. Buy it from the links in the video description below. We're getting some pushback from Google right now. So if you watch the unbox, you may actually see a little bit more elaborate explanation than we would like to have to share. But the truth is, we're getting bullied by the giant and we're not really good at being bullied. So anyway, if you hear us talk a little bit more about it, please don't be bored like normal. Just understand what we're trying to say. We've worked way too hard on this channel and you guys have supported us for way too long for us to quit now because some greedy pencil pusher at Google decides that they don't like us to have a stream of revenue to make this little business or whatever you want to call it
Or
run.
some bot that literally
some bot.
doesn't
some
have any
bot.
idea.
That's right. So anyway, we'll talk more about that in the unbox build radio setup while we're doing decals mostly. And then a little teeny bit at the end is a quick recap if you don't end up watching that. We're gonna reorder the video so that you watch the unbox and then we did decals because it's easier to do decals while it's disassembled. And then we did the build, which is like this, okay?
Yeah.
So we're gonna put that up front and if you watch the decals, you can see the full elaborate explanation. And hopefully it isn't too off-putting to you guys because we know you're here to support us. And the best way you can support us is follow the links when you are buying a plane because you watched our video. Now, if you don't want to do that, we also have Super Thanks where we line the pockets of Google. Thank you. And we have YouTube membership. Again, line the pockets of Google. And then we have Patreon and PayPal. Remember, we're friends and family. I had somebody asking us, I wish you wouldn't ask for money. And it's tough because, to be honest with you, for years, for about 8 years or 7.5 years, we didn't ask for support beyond buying from the links, okay? We did this because you asked us to. Not every single one of you, I understand, but a lot of you have asked us over the years, and it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's a small percentage of the earnings that we have on the overall big picture of Brian Phillips RC. And so we say that with respect to the people that have supported us in the past. We appreciate you doing it, but just understand that this has always been and always will be a volume thing. It ends up being the only reason we end up benefactoring from it is because I love those things and you guys do too.
We literally got an email today from somebody in Australia and he said, I love your videos. I appreciate it. I've bought a bunch of planes. I wish I could buy them from your links. So I'm supporting you other ways.
And that's just the way it is, guys.
So that's part of the reason we did it.
We don't do it because we pretend to like be poor. I mean, you guys see our house, you see where we live. We worked careers for decades. We did without, we invested a lot of money. We made wins on some of that stuff. We made a lot of losses too. And we had people backing us up and we seeked advice and we got advice and we listened to advice. And there's a lot of different things that we did right and there's some things that we did wrong. But at the end of the day, anybody who has worked their tail off, and I still work my tail off.
So you're still working.
50 to 60 hours a week for my day job, making a decent career. If you ever want to make a career doing what you love, then please don't rain on our parade, guys. We're not really asking for money. We're asking for support. And if it's not money, that's fine. Because a lot of people don't have extra cash. We totally 100% get it. And you wouldn't believe me if I said it, but just like everybody else, we spend it all too. So that would be the American dream. That's why we're digging
Spend all
a
your
pond.
money.
Spend all your money. Spend it till it's gone and then
Sweet.
some.
We're doing great.
Yeah. So anyway, the RC stuff is a huge part of our lives, no doubt, but it's not the only thing we've ever done. And it certainly isn't the last or only thing we're going to continue to do, but it is a huge place in my heart. Aviation has always been there. RC has always been there. It's just been cherry on the top sort of thing with this YouTube channel. In 9 years, it's not going down the tubes because Google decided to get greedy, okay? But that's what they're working on right now. And we just want to let you guys know we got a little bit of a pending, looming battle on our hands. And we hope that you guys will line up with us and help us out. So the best way you can do it is just keep buying stuff from the links when they exist. And if they all of a sudden like disappear, believe me, it's not us doing it. We get 300 or 400 batch emails at a time from Google saying this is totally out of line. And we're like, why is it out of line? Because it's spam. And I'm like, how could it be spam if you go out of your way to do it? So anyway, it's dumbfounding. And we have reached out to some counsel, and the counsel is has said, yeah, you're right, they're wrong. And so now it's time for us to figure out our next steps. So if you guys have any suggestions for us, if you've ever fought the big nasty giant, let us know. Because truth is, they're in court right now with the federal government for antitrust rules violations. So they're literally monopoly. And yes, we are benefactoring from this wonderful, terrible platform called YouTube, where you can say what you want so long as they agree with it.
Yes.
So we have been very, very careful over the years to not alienate people by the way we say things and what we say. And we're going to keep doing that because we love this hobby and we love having an audience that loves this hobby. We want to try not to divide people. We just want to bring people together. Even if we have different backgrounds, different belief systems and all that stuff, it's important and it is real to people. I get it. But that's not what we've ever done here. They're just pissed because we're making a few bucks on links. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I apologize for talking so much about it in this video. And I know there's been a couple of videos of late where we've mentioned it. The reason we mention it is because it's very scary when you work really hard for something and then you have some arbitrary thing try to take it away for no reason. I'm not big on that. And I hope you guys aren't either. So that's the no BS story. If you want to know more details, we can share more details, but I just can't do it in such a public sense. So hit us up in the About tab. There's an email there. Awesome plane. Really well done. FMS. On a scale of 1 to 10, the F-18 was half as good a flying performance as this plane. I didn't even use the scale. I just initiated.
I was like, you just...
On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going with half.
Let's say if this is an 8, because like I roll out, but the reason I roll out, admittedly, guys, and you don't know this if you haven't flown this property, and those of you that didn't and said, why don't you do this, Brian? And then you come over and you fly the property like the guys from Birmingham came, then you'll understand. Remember when you flew upside down and landed and crashed right there?
Yeah.
You know who you are. You can't get the glide slope you think you can.
No.
Okay? The glide slope you need for that plane to land like this, you can either get it into high alpha and then pop it down, which some people do a really good job of. I'm not so good with it because I almost always go like this, okay? And then you end up ripping the wings up. But there are guys that will come in high alpha and just plop. Problem is you end up dragging the tail on it. And I just love the way it looks watching the approach. So anyway, guys, enough about me, enough about our property. We know that you guys are here for us. You have been the world's best audience on YouTube. Our growth is organic. We never pay for growth. We never pay for views. We never pay for subscribership, which I guess you can do that.
Yeah.
But I'm evidently too dumb to do it.
We're spending our money on other things.
Yeah, like pawns.
Yeah.
So that being said, like this runway, guys, this wasn't free. Anybody who wonders.
No, we paid for that.
That's like a family car right there, the runway.
We paid for that.
Well, that thing is not all, but truthfully, when you're doing a lot of concrete work, you'll understand what I'm saying. Family car or runway. We opted for runway. And by the way, they had just paved this and we were like, do we even need it? Let's just do gravel like we were planning on. No, we tried to do the right thing. So when we build the damn road and the helipad over here, then you guys understand something. What happens is you make money and it's gone. That's how it works on YouTube. And hopefully you don't spend more than you made by a factor of 3 or 4 times. which is kind of what we're leaning toward in the next few projects. So we hope that this adds a lot to the channel. I think it's gonna give us better footage too, because when the sun is right there, like where that contrail is right there, the sun is very much just like, I am the sun, worship me and burn your light skin. But then over there, it'll be behind us, making it a beautiful view.
Yeah.
So we're honestly can't wait to share it, because we literally have equipment showing up next week. It was supposed to be here this week, but the guy had a sprocket rip all the bolts on one of his drives on a mini excavator. And so he got backlogged by like 3 or 4 days. So he's supposed to be delivering stuff in like 2 or 3 days. And then we have to get somebody hired to move trees, because we want to salvage as many trees as we can before they go into a giant pile and get burned.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, these are the real things in Brian Phillips RC. So we hope you will be there, like you always have, for the last at least 9.5. Has it been 10 years yet?
No. It's been 9.
9 years?
Almost 9.
And change. Almost 9?
Almost 9. Because we just had a 9th birthday.
Okay.
And it was the Christmas after she was born that you start flying.
Yeah. So guys, that's the way it is, and I'm sticking to it. She knows the dates, but let's just call it roughly 9.
Yeah.
And we love doing this stuff, guys. It's really fun. But the thing is, once it's really fun for a while, and then it becomes like a huge part of your life, you know, it's worth fighting for. Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna do it. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, like I said, if you want more details, I'm like an open book in private. I just can't do it publicly, because I'll probably put my foot in my mouth. Like, I already do that half the time anyway. So thanks so much for being here with us. There is definitely more to come. And so long as Google doesn't shut us down, because they don't like us.